Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Sammy Legger representing Team JVS, back here again for another review for Harley Quinn, Season 2, Episode 4, Thawing Hearts. This was actually a really good episode, and honestly, I actually had, like, false, what's the word? I think my perception of what Mr. Freeze was going to be, based on the kind of the way that this show goes, was completely off. Like, I did not know that this would be the same cold, love-hearted Mr. Freeze from basically the animated series. Like, in every way, like, this was what, in my opinion, from, what was it, Batman Sub-Zero and the animated series, like, this is the way that, this was the perfect kind of send-off for, like, the continuation story for Mr. Freeze. And, like, I ain't gonna lie, man, I was caught up. Like, I was like, dang, like, this is rough. And it's funny because it taught Harley this very, very important life lesson when it comes to responsibility and love and just understanding in general. And I think that what's going to end up happening, if this goes the route of the comics, there's going to be some... This whole wedding situation, I don't know if it's going to work out. Now, Kite Man and Poison Ivy, they go to the venue they want to go to or whatever, and they're trying to... like, Ivy, last episode, she was like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Even though Catwoman kind of, like, swayed her one way or another. It was really weird, because Catwoman seemed a bit attached to Ivy, but either way, that's either here nor there. But either way, it's kind of like, this episode, like, finally Harley got what she wanted, which is the gun to be able to get through the ice fortress, to be able to get in, to get him. But she didn't want to involve Ivy because she knew that Ivy was going to look into the wedding video. Now, the Cat Man's arch nemesis, Condiment Man, at first I was like, what in the world? And it's kind of just, his rival is just the worst. Like, that job was hilarious. But then, when Harley and the crew were trying to get to Mr. Freeze, bruh, like, it's some of the goriest fights, period. Like, they just are just annihilating people. Matter of fact, when they were skating, like, I was like, this is some R-rated stuff. And I was kind of just like, why could the movie not be this? Like, the movie was rated R, but it wasn't structuralized as a rated R film like something like Deadpool. It wasn't made for that. Like, it was made really like a PG-13 movie. It should have stayed PG-13. And I was like, yo, if the movie was off the chain like this, bro, that joint would have been the craziest rated R DC movie that they've ever made. But it just wasn't what the design for what it was. Either way, this episode was really good because, of course, they get captured. It doesn't work out. And, like, you find out that Mr. Freeze is crazy. Like, everything about Nora and, like, the rats, and I was kind of just like, yo, this is the worst version of Mr. Freeze yet. And then it was kind of just like, yeah, you don't know the whole story. And I was kind of like, I was impressed. I'm not gonna lie to you, because, like, all intents and purposes, I was like, yo, this dude is creepy. This is sick. I don't know what he's about to do. I don't know what he's gonna try to do with them. And I was like, bruh, like, this is not the Mr. Freeze I remember. But then you get down to the bare knuckles of who he is, and I was like, this is the Mr. Freeze that I know. And I love that. I really did. I mean, regardless of, like, just kind of like the whole Penguin situation, same thing with this one. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the decision to go forward with that. But all these limitations that you would normally have in, like, these kind of shows are just gone. Like, there are no limitations. Anything goes. So, I love that. I really do love it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this review. And yeah, definitely let me know what you thought of this episode in the comment section below. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Peace, guys.